Hello, guys. Welcome to Timmy Talk. We are currently on our ninth podcast.
No, you said 10 earlier, no?
It's the ninth.
Okay,
I
sorry.
just checked. Yeah, we're January 13th. I'm here with obviously Chrissy the Missy,
Hello.
Brandon Shakur,
Know it.
and we're missing our fourth member, Ia, once again. We miss you, Ia.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, come home.
We got some juicy content for you. So pack up your condoms, boys, cause we're jizzing all over this place. We got some
That
juicy
intro,
stuff.
though.
That's right. Okay. We didn't have anything planned actually. I only had one thing that I wanted to start off with, and it's something really interesting that I read an article recently on The Guardian, and it's this.
Sorry, the what?
The Guardian. It's a
newspaper.
Yeah, it's a newspaper.
Oh, I thought like the subject was The Guardian. I'm like,
No.
what?
It's so this nurse who basically specializes in dealing with like elderly that are on their deathbeds.
Mm-hmm.
So she usually deals with that, and she basically mentions like the 5 main things that people regret,
Mm-hmm.
or like the biggest regrets that people have when they're on their deathbeds.
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
So
Okay.
I actually wanted both of you to create a top 5, or like try to guess a top 5. I'm gonna start with Brandon because I've already spoken to him a bit about this.
And
So
you,
like just
you
try
already
to
gave me one.
just try to throw some out there.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Shit.
I know one of them is I won't
No,
say.
just
Okay. So let's see. One of the top 5s. Let's see. I wish I had been with my family more.
okay. I won't say actually which ones are.
Okay. So I have to create a top 5, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I wish I cared more about family.
That's your 5th?
Oh,
Or the
wait,
Yeah. Go
okay, I have
for
to
a
put-
top.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so from
number
bottom
5.
to top. So okay, well it's not number 5. Sorry.
Could you
So
imagine?
let's see. I wish I had gone on more vacations. Would probably be number 5.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Then probably because
Number
family
4.
would be number 3 to
Okay.
me. So number 4 has to be something else. I wish I had taken better care of myself.
Okay. In what sense?
Like done more exercise, not have been lazy, not eaten so much junk food.
Yeah, but you're not now, though.
No, right there.
Well, I'm a lot worse than what I used to be. That's for sure.
Oh,
And
really?
I've started taking care of better of
Oh,
myself.
okay.
Like
I
I
mean,
noticed when I put because I used to.
You now, it's much better than you who used to drink like 5 energy drinks during the day.
No,
then.
okay, it's better than that, but it's just because I had a peak beforehand
Yeah.
where I was like super healthy and like in shape and stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm still sorta in shape, but I started growing this belly. And I noticed because when I decided to do something about it, and I went to the gym today and I put on a shirt that I usually put on like super well.
Oh, you can see.
I felt the outline of the shirt on my belly, and I'm just like, oh, this has got to go.
This is
Mhm.
done. Anyways, so
Okay.
continue.
So number 3 was spending more time with your
Yeah,
family.
Spend more time with my family.
Number 2.
Number 2 would have been, I wish, let's see.
Bigger dick.
You can.
Why'd you guess my top one? Let's see. What would number 2 be? Okay, so let's see. I wish I had gone on more voyages. I wish I had taken better care of myself. I wish I had taken more time with family. I guess I wish I would have been less stressed
Okay,
out in
yeah.
life. And top one would probably be like assuming that I would be like dying alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I wish I had found like my true love.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't already find your true love?
No, it doesn't
Yeah,
have
right
to do
now.
with him.
I'm kidding.
It doesn't have to do with him.
It's like putting you on the spot.
It's just regular, like, people.
Yes.
Okay. Fuck. So my top 5, basically?
Not your top 5. Would you believe that the common top
I thought it
5
was
is...
my top 5.
No.
Okay, then it's the same thing, though. It's, for sure, everyone's gonna be like travel more, and then
Mhm.
spend time more with my family. And then I'm gonna try to come up with different ones in
Yeah.
here.
No, it can be the same one, so...
It's funny how those two are kind of contradictory. It's like, oh, I wish I had gone to like Germany and all these other countries, but then it's like, oh, I wish I had spent more time with family. It's
True.
like, pick one, man.
Yeah.
Just-
True.
would you?
I'm trying to think.
Time is limited, huh?
Listen, we got like a good like hour and a half left.
No,
before.
I mean like, in
life.
life. I
thought you meant the podcast.
No.
Oh my
Look
God.
at you trying to be deep in her fucking show.
Like ruining it. Probably spent money on like luxury things. So I know
Spent more?
spend more because there's a lot of people who are scared to like in the future.
Like,
What if I don't have money? What if I don't have money? And then they die with like a bunch of money and they're like, I didn't spend it on anything.
That was probably not the best way to say it. I think the better way to say it would be like, I wish I had cared less about my economic status.
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
And then.
Or lived in the moment.
And then probably I would say another one too. They're all mixed up at this point because the other one too would be like I wish I didn't spend too much time thinking of what I want to be. Like a lot of people want to finish school super early and then start their life early and then
that's a pretty good
So
one.
if they would have thought more about
The present.
that's a really good one. It's not on it though, but it's
really?
no, it's not. But it's a really good one.
Because a lot of people they'll start their like let's say they want to become doctors, but by the time they decide to be, they'll be like 20. Like some of them start when they're like older, like 25, like almost.
No, a lot of them actually start like close to the 30s.
Wait.
Okay.
Start what?
Their doctor
Education.
career. Oh, education.
Yeah, we're talking about education.
They'll start at like 25, maybe 27, and then
It's because like hypothetically, okay, you're 18 and you're like, oh, I want to be a doctor. Fuck it.
That's 8 years.
Well, the thing is exactly you're spending 8 years. So what happens if like on your 6th year you're just like,
fuck this.
I actually don't like it.
Yeah.
You feel like you've wasted so much time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it reminds me of what Sam Bernier, our friend who's like a guest on the podcast, was talking about the other day when he said like, I've spent all this time doing like working to be a police officer, and he's like, I don't know if it'll actually come to fruition. Like, will it actually come to something, or did I just waste that much time? And we were basically trying to convince him like, no, it wasn't a waste of time because you actually had to get there to realize that you didn't want to be that.
Yeah, I honestly, like, I was thinking about, like, my life and stuff because I'm done school. And I was thinking I'm not going to go back to university because school is just not, like, fuck uni, but I want to get more, like, I find that I really want to get into more of the medical field on aesthetics.
Okay.
So work with dermatologists and clinics, not like salons and spas, because
you want to pop cysts.
No, not that. More like help. So one of the classes I'm actually saving up for is to become a kind of foot doctor, but it's not the one that's like that does surgeries and removes like full-grown toenails. What?
No, it's just because, like you said, one of the things I'm saving up to study is being a foot doctor, and then that just reminded me of when you said you just bought some new shoes.
Okay, stop. Okay, oh my god.
It's like, I'm saving up to be a foot doctor. By the way, just spent $150 on new shoes.
140, okay.
Oh my god.
And it was less expensive than the
original price.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's get back to the topic at hand. Top 5, Chris.
And
I'm there to steer you back
I
into
know,
the
but I was
conversation.
just saying, like, for what I said, it's true. Like, even for me, that I'm done with school, I think I'm still gonna go back to learn stuff. But okay, so what did I say? I said traveling. I said family, traveling, education, and then money.
It would take more time to think about your education.
Yeah. And then I guess another one would be health.
Take more time on your health?
Yeah.
That's not a crazy one. Okay, so it's funny because like most of what you said isn't actually on the list at all.
Oh shit.
And both of you.
Damn.
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, the first thing that
Can I
that
say another
you
one?
need
I'm so
to-
sorry.
Okay,
because
yeah,
I
sure.
just thought of it.
Go for it.
Telling the person that you love them. Like a lot of people won't tell.
Just appreciate people more.
No, like that they're in love with the person, so they miss their chance of like being with them and falling in love with them and stuff like that.
That isn't one.
Fuck yeah, I thought it was one.
But it's a good one as well. Just being, but some of the things that you guys touch on, it sort of reflects in these answers.
Okay.
So, let's say the fifth one was I wished I'd let myself be happier.
Oh shit, less stress. That's like.
Like, So, and that's what it says. Like, many people do not realize that happiness is a choice, and people often, like, they stay in bad habits, and they just, stick with bad habits, and it's not up until you're on your deathbed that you're really like, wow, I actually wasted so much of my time and energy on shit that I don't actually enjoy.
My dad told me that recently, actually.
At least he realized it before he's on his deathbed.
Yeah, but he's realizing now because now he's getting older.
Mm-hmm.
And
Did he have his midlife crisis yet?
I don't think so.
I mean, I think at this point, all our parents should have already passed the midlife crisis point, because they're all in their like 50s at least.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's my dad is 48.
Oh,
really?
My dad's like 55.
Yeah, my dad's 54.
My mom's like 49, 50 maybe. She hit 50 last year.
My mom's 46, I believe.
What the hell? They're so young. Well, so young.
Yeah. Wait, is
well,
that
still,
accurate?
yeah,
Hold
like.
on. Maybe that's not accurate. I need to calculate. She had me.
So calculate your
She
shit.
had me at 23.
That's
23,
young.
damn.
Yeah.
So
Were
she's
you-
like 44.
Oh, because you're an
Yeah.
accident.
No,
Yeah, you're
not
probably
at all.
an
It's
accident,
just
bro.
very, very early marriage, very early Arab marriage. So,
Them Arabs. Okay.
It didn't end well, I must say.
Fun.
So number 4,
Mm.
which is actually like really surprised me. I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, and it's actually like one that's like not like super crazy. Sorry for that. Phone just rang. Yeah, so like people who stay in touch with their friends. I mean, to me, it's something that's like pretty like it's logical, because I figure that most of these people that are on deathbeds probably were married, had kids, had like a lot of work,
Yeah.
and because of that, you sort of like take away from some of the like the things that were important to you when you were like younger, because they have like new priorities.
True.
And sometimes you just take like friends for granted.
Yeah.
And once you're at a certain age where you have a bit more free time, so like let's say my parents, who both my brothers are out the house, they work less, and like let's say I'm not like I'm in the house, but I'm not like a big responsibility anymore, and I can take care of myself. Well, they have all this free time, and it's like if you don't keep up with your friends, well, you just like lose them.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Are
that's
they saying like high school friends or like friends in general?
it just talks about old friends. So
Okay.
so like it doesn't have to be high school friends, but it's because when you have long-term friendships, and I think me and Brandon can hold a testimony to that, where like we've known each other for so long, and we have other friends that like we would have lost touch.
Not fucking
And
tired of
it's
him already,
it's
Jesus.
not like I am, no. And it's just like it's something that you shouldn't I think like when you have a friendship for a long time, it's much different. Not just because you're very used to the person, but it's also that like there's no like fake politeness in it at all, and it just becomes like it's more of a family member than a friend. And on that note, I actually want to talk about something that we talked about on another podcast, because we were talking about unconditional love, and we were talking about the fact that it could only be like family.
For unconditional
Yeah,
love?
because we're saying, well, you guys were saying that I don't think that you can unconditionally love somebody other than family. And that made me think of our friend Aaron, because we've known him since we were like 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're not really talking about him, but talking to him anymore.
Yeah.
But like I'll always think about him.
Yeah, that's true.
And like I'll always love that guy, because he was like one of my best friends, and I'll always like worry about him. And in that sense, I think that like there is like such a yeah, exactly.
Shit.
Because no matter what happens to him, I'll always like care about him. And I think in that sense, like I can't see it as anything other than that.
But does it count though? Because he would be considered a honorary family member at that point, so he would be considered.
Yeah, but why couldn't your girlfriend be like that? That's why I said it's a lot. It's
She
a lot
brings
that
a
has
lot
to
of
do with.
problems.
I think it. Oh my god. I think it gets like that when you're at the stage of like, okay, that's it. Me and you, it's forever.
Yeah.
So that, but
Yeah.
that turns into family though.
Yeah, I do agree though, but it's because we were saying like, can a girlfriend be that? And I was saying yeah, because like, you grow into it. It's not something that's there like at the beginning. It's because like it becomes something else.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll go back to the topic at hand. It's just that like it reminded me of that a lot. The number 3 was I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings.
See, hey, but that's what I said though.
Yeah. And I relate to this one because of my girlfriend, because sometimes she doesn't express her feelings, and sometimes she should. She's with us right now. She's just not talking. She's looking at me kind of funny, but I think, I mean, I'm somebody who really does express his feelings a lot, so I don't think that's something I would like have a lot of trouble with. But I think somebody who either lacks confidence or is just like very shy wouldn't have not the balls, but just like the audacity to have to like always express themselves, and they always feel like a liability, so they don't want to.
Okay. But it's funny you say that because before you guys started dating, I remember you told me that you're like, fuck it, I just don't want to like anymore.
To what?
To like to talk to her or whatever.
Yeah,
or
because
ask her one more time.
Yeah, so the story is before I went out with my girlfriend, I really wanted to talk to her, and I'd asked her out, and the first time she actually said no, and I didn't
took an
know.
L, basically.
Yeah, I took a huge L, and I didn't like I really basically what she told me is, listen, like I just got out of a relationship, but like I am. No, she didn't say she was interested. She basically said like, but like you seem like a nice guy. So to me that was that was just like, okay, it's it, like that's it. But the thing is, like maybe 3 days later she texted me, and she started talking to me, and I was like, okay, well that's kind of weird, but whatever. So I just kept talking to her, and after like a month after that, so I probably like texted her for like 2.5 3 months, like for quite a while, probably starting like November, and like in January I was like, okay, do you want to like go out sometime? And she ended up saying yes the second time.
Because I know,
but
because
it
you were
took
saying
so much fucking.
Because you were telling me, you're like, oh, I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just not interested. And then I'm
but
like,
can you
Matthew,
understand why?
swear to God. Yeah, but then I'm like, I know what she's thinking.
Yeah, you were talking me into it, but I am telling
you're
you,
welcome.
I literally didn't ask the second time. I was just like, yeah, I want to ask a question, but you know what question I'm gonna ask. And she was like, go out on a date, and I was like, yes. And she was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, what?
Hold on, what?
But yeah, so that's a testament to well, you guys were talking about like in a relationship, yeah, like, or asking somebody for a date, like no regrets in that regard. But it doesn't have to be a relationship, it could be anything. It says here, many people suppress their feelings in order to keep peace with others. And I think that's a lot of it, like especially in family. You don't want, a big thing to happen, so you just like shut up about everything.
My family.
I think every
but
family, honestly.
I don't know, everyone can relate. But it's funny that you also say that because me and my boyfriend, the first time we actually met, he didn't tell me anything. He didn't like talk to me. Like he said hi and whatever, but he didn't say anything.
You mean before you were dating?
Yeah, before. That was like 2 years before we started dating. Before we met again, basically.
Okay.
I see.
What?
No, because I was just like, if that was your first date.
Yeah, I was like, how did they get to a second date?
No, so like 2 years before I went on a first date with him, I've actually met him, and then he didn't say anything. And then the second he saw me again, he was like, fuck, I need to, like, now, like, if I don't say anything now, he told me, like, oh, if I don't say anything now, like, I'm gonna have to, like, she's gonna go away, and then that's it.
So, the second one.
Imagine that was just, like, the best, before you say that.
Yeah, sure.
Imagine that was just the best setup. He's, like, 2 years ago, he's just, like, hi. And then
he's waiting.
He's waiting 2 years later.
Could you imagine?
And then he sees you again, and he's just like, hey, you're that girl I met 2 years ago, and that's his opener.
Could you imagine?
I remember like there was the ice bucket challenge like a few years ago.
Yeah.
And everybody would like basically they do the challenge and then they nominate 3 people and say you have 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember me being, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I took a year to think about this, but somebody had nominated me, and I literally waited exactly 1 year. Like an entire year went by,
Oh my God.
and the day that, like the exact same day that he done it, I basically just said, yeah, I know I'm late, but here you go, and I did it. That was that.
Like a year later.
Literally a
notification
year later.
from it saying like last year you did this.
No, I actually put something on my calendar.
Oh my God.
Like I was dedicated to this joke.
Wow.
Fucking kids.
So number 2.
Yeah.
Was it number 2 or number 1?
It's
2.
number 2. The number 2 is I wish I hadn't worked so hard. So this is, she says it's especially for male patients because, you know, this is like older generation, right?
Yeah.
So it's especially like men that were working. Like it says like you know, women also spoke of this regret, but as most were from an older generation, many of the female patients had not been breadwinners.
Okay.
Okay. I would have actually assumed that one of the top 5 for women would be I wish I had gone out of the house more.
Oh shit, that would be a good one.
So it says they missed like their children's youth and their partner's companionship. So it's people that worked far too much and didn't have the necessary time to be with like friends and family.
Yeah.
Basically.
But that goes into the mentality of like back in the days you had to, like the only thing that they had in mind was just like work.
Yeah,
just
working
that's
like
it.
to get some money. I remember like my grandfather now, like I think about him and like most people of that age have a lot of money saved up. And like for what?
That's what I was
pass
saying.
down.
Yeah. I mean, it's to pass down, but
or to use, but you know.
yeah,
they just
but
don't
it's
get to
because
that
they
point.
have too much.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Like, I mean, what happens if you don't have the necessary health to, you know, do a bunch of trips and you're just stuck with like 300 grand and you're like, well, fuck it. What do I do with this? I've worked so much. I've missed a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had this conversation with my dad a few days ago because he's a very, very conservative kind of guy where he's like he absolutely wants to make sure that he has a lot of money left for when he retires and wants to do things.
Yeah.
And he looks at me and he says, you should probably do the same thing as I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, like, I don't know, because like he told me that the majority of Quebec doesn't think that way and mostly lives paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, that's kind of dangerous though.
It is dangerous, but in a sense, it's like it is a way of living and it works, right?
But it's too dangerous though because if something happens,
Mm-hmm.
That's
exactly.
true. That is true. However, it does take away the fact that like, you know, if you save up a lot of money and then don't spend it all, then what did you work
Yeah,
for?
but I think
But
there's a good middle ground.
Yeah, for sure.
it's like half goes savings, half you can spend.
That's true. That's
Mhm.
true. That is very possible.
That's
And I
what
feel
I-
like there should probably be a roof that you should aim for.
A roof? What do you mean?
Yeah,
Like a necessarily amount of money.
An amount of money that you should save up on before you should stop saving up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Okay, so you're saying because people don't do that, people just don't have a limit. They just like save.
They just keep it like even if you go half of your pay goes to the savings account, and the other half you can spend. Eventually, by the end of your life, when you're retiring, you're still gonna have way too much money on your hands.
It depends. 'Cause,
Depends on your work.
Like, imagine you retire when you're like 60. It just seems like a good year.
Yeah.
Okay, and you live like another 20 years. I mean, that's a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
So like,
For sure.
I mean, you need a lot of money. I guess that like, you know, when you're that age, well, at least, you know, you don't cost a lot of money because you don't eat as much. Your house is probably paid, hopefully at least.
Yeah.
And you know you have the necessary like means to. But you know, 20 years, like imagine 20 years with like just government revenue.
No,
Like, that's not enough.
That's for sure. But I mean, because if you look at it, the way you're saying it is not the way you're saying it. Sorry, but if we look at it this way, if you save half of your money in your savings accounts and you don't stop,
Yeah.
let's say you start working at 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're earning a decent amount of money, which I believe the average is 48 or 50,000
I was
a
gonna
year.
say 60.
No, probably like 50.
Yeah, so 50,000 a year. So let's say you save half of that and you use the other half to pay off like everything you owe, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's $25K a year that you're saving in your bank account for 30 years.
Yeah, but I mean, there's two things to that. First of all, spending 25 is like, it's pretty fucking
Conservative. I know.
Yeah. Especially like that's like if you don't have any kids.
But that's true. But that's
The
still
kids
going in
cost
that
so much
mentality of like, oh, half of my pay is going in the bank account, the other half is not, and that's also going in the mentality of not having a rooftop where you have a maximum amount of money saved. And then afterwards, it would become easier to use more of your money to spend on everything.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, you know, like that's, it just seems like very hard to do 50-50, especially if you're only making, well, not only, but like if you're making 50 grand a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'll finish off with the number one, which was, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me.
But that again goes back to that generation, because that's probably going for the people who are like gay.
No, that could still go. That could still go in our generation.
Oh, yeah.
Not have, well, like you're not living through that, but you did. You did once live. You did for a small portion of time live through that, where you told your parents, when you told your parents that you didn't want to be like something or other, and they're like, oh my god, you don't want to be that, and it's like, oh, you're not gonna.
I never went through that with my parents.
No? Okay, well.
No, my parents. No, when I told them I wanted to be an esthetician, my mom was like, hey, it's a good job. She's like, always aim at as high as you can in whatever field you want to be.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think maybe that's what.
You know, for me, it's not gonna work that way. Like honestly, the one thing that my dad told me that kind of scares me is if you don't go to university, because I know that he said that because he cares and he just wants me to succeed in life and he wants me to have an actual bachelor's degree at least.
Mm-hmm.
But the way he said it feels like almost like a threat. He said if you don't go to university or you end up finishing school without a university degree, I don't want to have contact with you anymore.
Yo, that's
what?
That's like the immigrant fucking Lebanese like mentality.
Does he even have a bachelor's?
He does.
Okay.
He's an engineer. He's an electrical engineer.
Okay.
He is.
That's like, okay, but that's what I'm saying. That's like the
like,
Lebanese like immigrant type like of mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's also a pretty stressful thing to live up to because both of my parents have like bachelor's, and one I think my mom. No, she has a bachelor's.
My dad doesn't have a bachelor's.
My parents don't.
He probably makes more than my mom.
My dad doesn't even have his.
That's the thing, but like both my parents have like university degrees, and so they're expecting me to have a university degree.
What does your mom have a degree in?
Infirmary.
Oh really?
She's
nursery. Sorry.
Yeah, nursery.
Yeah.
My dad doesn't even have his high school.
She was going to. The thing is, she was going to, but then when she had me, she realized that her job required her to be at the hospital way too much.
Oh.
So she took a job as a daycare owner.
So she could take care of you.
Be in the house and have a job at the same time. And
my parents, funny, my dad never finished his high school diploma,
mm-hmm.
but that's also he was in Lebanon, so he was going to like war and stuff like that. He got shipped somewhere else, and my mom has her high school degree, but when she went to university here at Ottawa U, she was doing something in like maths and computers, and then she had my older brother, and then she's like, yeah, no, fuck that. So.
Yeah, I think kids like take a huge toll on somebody. Like it's just normal.
But at the same time, I think my mom had so much, like the only language she spoke was Arabic and French, because Lebanon is really big on French there. Yeah. And like she went to this class and she told me she was like top of her class, she was like super like into it and whatever, but then my grandparents were like, yeah, we don't have money, so you gotta like leave and then work to make us live.
Yeah.
And then my older brother came, and then she was like, well,
but the number one, like a lot of it comes back to fulfilling your dreams.
Yeah.
Because you guys haven't, but the quote exactly is, the most common regret of all, when people realize that their life is almost over and look back clearly on it, it's easy to see how many dreams have gone unfulfilled. Most people are not honored even half of their dreams and had to die knowing that it was due to choices they had made or not made. Mm-hmm. Health brings a freedom very few realize until they no longer have it. And I see that as like, you often have, it's not necessarily like one goal, but like let's say as a kid you saw like some movie with like New York in it, let's say, and it seemed like such a crazy city to you, and you never actually came to visiting it.
Okay.
So when you no longer had the health in order to go there, well, it's too late because you missed your shot. You had like 70 or so years to go there, or 80 or whatever, but you never did while you were healthy. And it's like all your life, you wished for something, and you could have probably, often it comes back to choices. Sometimes it's not, but like most of the time, somebody has the choice, and like on their deathbed, they have regrets.
Yeah.
That's true.
I don't want to think of this stuff.
Oh, it's crazy though, but I think it's really important because especially the friends thing. It made me really think because to me, I mean, I've always had a lot of friends, like whether I'm 5 or
Okay.
whether I'm like 5 or 20, I've always had a lot of friends, but you don't realize how important they are till, especially when you're older.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, imagine when you have literally all the time in the world. Like, all you have is free time. And you have nobody to share it with.
True.
I mean, you can have your spouse or whatever, but that's assuming you have a spouse, first of all.
Oh, yeah.
And even if you do, I mean, somebody obviously has to pass away first.
Yep.
That's another sad thing. There's always somebody who's gonna die first.
I know, stop. Probably me from fucking health.
It's like you want to be the first one, but at the same time you don't. You really don't.
It's like you want to be the first one to leave a party when you're tired, but you don't want to
Yeah.
because you want to stay.
Damn, the party metaphor.
Come on.
I've never heard that shit.
That's me. Every time I drink, I'm just like, I want to go to bed, but do I really want to go to bed?
No, you don't, because there's still a lot of shit to see.
I know.
I remember I actually watched How I Met Your Mother
Again?
like 2 days ago, and this makes me think of it because there's a rule that it's like in the show that it says something like you can't, or there's nothing interesting that happens after 3 a.m. or
2
something.
a.m.
2 a.m. And I'm thinking to all the parties we've done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, there's definitely some nice shit
For
that happens
sure.
after 2 a.m.
No, it's crazy. But I think it's more house parties, like when we're between us.
Yeah. Still.
Because if you go out, and then the only thing that happens after is like, oh, let's go eat, or let's just see a bunch of people stumbling out of the clubs at 2
But that's
a.m.
hilarious, though. I have so many fond memories of like going, to bars, and after everything closes, just people randomly fighting in the street, and everybody screaming "World Star, World Star," and we're just eating pizza at the same time. It's
You're
a
like,
blast.
cool.
Yeah, I remember this one time. It was like this super skinny kid, and he was like up against like this guy who's obviously a bodybuilder,
Mm-hmm.
and the skinny kid just like, so the bodybuilder obviously he rips his shirt. Like, this is something out of a movie.
God.
And the skinny kid just like starts like going at him, but he's getting beat the fuck up. And at one point he actually managed to hit him completely in the face with his elbow.
Oh shit.
And let me tell you, a fist is nothing compared to an elbow. So the guy just fucking knocks
Falls down,
yeah, no, it just knocks out.
Oh shit.
Boom, scrambles on the ground, and everybody's yelling all over the fucking place. Cops show up, and he just ran away from the cops.
Of course.
For sure.
But the skinny kid and the other guy got caught. He was like, okay, well, I got beat the fuck up, and now I need to face the cops.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus
And I was like, yo, skinny kid, man, just
go skinny kid.
Hey Todd,
Man,
Jesus, man.
oh my god. The other day, me and a couple of the girls were like, oh, let's go out before they start school again and whatever.
Mhm.
And we leave the house at 9, which I'm never used to. I leave the house when I go to bars or club at 11,
Yeah.
12. So I'm just whatever, be there at 9. And then by the time we left it was 11:30, maybe midnight. And then we're walking out and we're like, no one's here yet. And I'm like, good God, are we old now? Did we just go to a bar to chill and drink and then just leave?
Yeah.
That's it. So we just did an old person thing, but it was so much fun.
Really?
Because there wasn't any kids. That's the thing. That's what I hate. Every
What's
time
kids
I go out,
though?
because we went to on the Quebec side,
Yeah.
that's 18. So a bunch of kids that are 15, 16, I'll put 17 in it because like it's borderline whatever.
Yeah.
Like
They just
that's
like
for
go
me.
to
like they go there and then the barman like they don't give a crap.
Yeah.
Bouncer, sorry, they don't give a crap, so they just let them in, and then you're just like, you'll get away, go home.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
All the like scantily clad, like poorly dressed girls that get super drunk and they end up crying on the side of the street. I've seen that way too many times.
Did I tell you what happened?
I don't even understand why bouncers are there anymore if they just let the younger.
Yeah, honestly, they don't do anything. They're just paid to like, it's a show basically, just to say they have some.
Yeah.
Seriously.
In case like I understand they're there in case a fight breaks out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just to like take them out of like the area where they shouldn't be fighting and put them in an area where they should be.
Which is nowhere.
Fuck up. Yes.
No, but I mean on the street, like you said, inside the club.
It's the police's problem.
Exactly.
I've had this one time happened to me. What?
In band camp.
In band camp. See, hey. Okay. I went out with a couple of people, and then I was like DD, so I wasn't drinking, whatever, and I'm just fucking around, and in the corner I just see like a 16-year-old. Actually no, I thought she was 16, and then I go up to her and I'm like, "Are you okay, Missy?" She was on the floor like crying, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "My friends left me. I'm here by myself now. I'm too drunk to stand up." Like she was like,
that
fucking
sucks.
done. And I'm just like, "Oh," I'm like, "Your friends left you?" And she's like, "Yeah, I can't like function." And she was like slurring whatever, and I'm like, and then I'm telling her like, "Oh, like, you know, you're 16, you shouldn't be really like here." I never went out before I was 18. Like I was like determined. I was not like that type.
You was a good gal.
I was a good gal. And then she's like when I was telling her like, "Oh, like, you know, 16, you shouldn't be like, because it's very dangerous and whatever." She's like, "Oh, I'm 15. Like I think she was like 15. She said, and I'm like, still like you're not like helping your cause.
It's like you're not exactly proving your point.
Yeah.
And then I bring her out and I'm like, "I'm gonna call a taxi, give me your driver's license or whatever thing you have with an address on it."
But I'm 15.
Well, I don't know, maybe she like, I don't know.
That's sad.
Like maybe she said that, or like I was just like, "I need like your address." So like
that makes sense.
She responded 16 because she gave me her. I don't know why she said she was 15 because I'm thinking about it now. She gave me her license. And you can't start anything.
That's true. If you have a learner's permit, you're automatically 16.
Like she had to, like she started her like whatever, but she was drunk and gone. So I called a taxi, get her in, whatever. Fucking next day, Texas finds me on Facebook somehow. I don't know how.
Yeah,
whatever.
maybe you were drunk too. Like I don't.
No. I was sober. I was DD.
Okay.
I was driving people, and then she just says like, "Oh, thanks for like putting me in a taxi."
Yeah.
And then we go, and I'm like, "Holy fuck!" I'm like, "Who are you hanging out with to leave you by yourself
That's fucked up,
at a club? Like, what the fuck?"
See, these like on the list, the old friends we were talking about. These ain't them.
These ain't them. This ain't it, chief.
I think that like if ever there is a next time that I go out, because you know I rarely ever go out.
I know. You go out, you just don't drink.
Yeah. One of the things well, that's why I rarely go out, because usually when I do, I don't drink, and then it's just boring for me, except laughing at you guys' asses, drunk asses. But one thing I would want to do is go to the bouncer and say, you know, if the cops show up and they find minors, and the minors fess up that you're the one who carded them and let them in, the club will be held responsible and will be fined a hefty price.
Yeah.
And they're gonna look to you directly to pay that price. Like they will sue you if they.
But they don't give a crap. Like the only thing that the owners are gonna do is literally change the name of the bar and then reopen it again.
Possibly, but honestly, like,
but they still have to pay the fine.
They still have to pay the fine, and that's where the bouncer will be in trouble. And I feel like that might wake him up. It's like shit. That's true. If shit does go down, I could be held accountable, and I don't have the cash to pay anything.
I honestly think he doesn't give a crap because.
But that's the thing. He might not at that moment, but if something does happen.
I think even if you tell him that, because there's no cops that's just gonna walk in and start IDing everyone at the bar.
Except that some did. It does happen.
Yo, it actually reminds me of.
Often, no.
It's true. It's not that often, but it only takes one time for a bouncer to be like, "Shit, it could happen."
Yeah. Do you remember that party that we went to? That was like right next to a graveyard.
Yeah.
It was at a church or like right next to a church. So they always rent it out. So you know it's extra revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, our friend, I think it's like his 16th birthday. Maybe it was his 17th. Yeah. And he had
No, it
this
was his
huge
18th,
party.
I
Oh,
remember. Yeah,
yes,
it was
but
his 18th,
but
but
he was
had
like
a lot of people that were
yeah,
under 18.
exactly. He was one of the oldest because he just turned 18, and
Yeah.
his birthday's probably in like October, so
Yeah.
he's at the cutoff of
Is that
like
you?
school. That's me, yeah. So when it was his birthday, like everybody was like 17 and 16,
Yeah.
Jesus.
and they were all drinking. People were like super fucking drunk.
He had
And-
younger friends too. Like
Yeah.
I fairly remember seeing people that were like 14.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
Wait, who was
there's
this?
Sam Lopez. And
Oh my god.
yeah, that guy. And
Jeez.
so the cops show up because we were really fucking loud, and there was
Yeah.
a lot of people at that party.
Yeah.
It was a killer party.
And he was done.
Yeah, he was so fucked up, and the cops were just like, who's responsible for this party? So we all point to him, and
Fake
he actually
friends.
he actually
Fuck off.
he actually had
don't
to
incriminate yourself for
no,
someone.
but it's because like when you do something like that, you have to have like not a permit, but like when you rent it out, well, you're licensed like the establishment for that night.
Oh, okay.
So they were like, who does the license belong to, so that we can check up on it.
Yeah.
So that's why we had to point to him. But like while he was talking, like he'd taken drugs, like
Yep.
like it wasn't like he wasn't lightly like drunk or no, he was really
Fucked up.
like
He
he could not
was.
open his eyes.
Oh my
That's
god.
true.
Oh.
And he was terrible. And I remember he was having a conversation with the cops, and I was just like right next to him, and I was like, oh yeah, because I was one of the only people that was also 18.
Yeah.
So I'm just like talking, and this one girl was like, I hope we're not in trouble, like talking to the cops, and she's like, oh, don't worry, I'm not like 14 or anything, I'm 16. And I was like, shut the fuck up.
Oh my
So
god.
the cops are like, okay, there's obviously minors here. It's like, I won't be, walking around asking for everybody's cards, but just be like very careful about it, and we'll try to like, see things clearly and not try to punish you guys, because you guys are like pretty, we're not like, messing around the neighborhood or anything like that.
We're just loud
And
music.
it was in the country, not in the country, but like, like a super rural area, so
Yeah.
there wasn't like many people either. So it was just like, just try to stay calm. But oh man, like we could have been in so much, like not me because I was 18, but like some people could have been in so much trouble.
Yeah.
like a shit ton of trouble.
Yeah, and I remember when, like, that's not the only party that, it just like cops show up, and people would just like spread, because they would be like, yo, nah, I'm not, this ain't it. This, yeah, I'm not going out yet.
I remember people left. Some people left. Like
Yeah,
while the
yeah,
cop was
straight
going,
up,
they got
that is
in their
like-
cars and
yeah.
they left.
And the worst part is that after the cops show up, like the party didn't stop.
No.
Like,
It kept
we-
going for I think an hour.
Yeah, at least. And I remember like somebody had somebody snorted coke on your car.
Yeah.
Oh my, what?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I remember that word because it's like I remember because I came here. I was one of the first people to come by, so I had like a parking spot right next to
Okay.
the party spot. And later during the night, I see a bunch of people just hanging out, like
On your car.
next to
Right
my car,
next
but
to
like
it.
they're putting their arms on
Yeah.
the trunk. Right.
And you're like, fuck
I'm just
out.
like, what are you guys doing? Like, that's my car,
The fuck,
right?
man?
And I'm just like, okay, I'll just wait till they leave and then I'll park somewhere else so that they don't, mess around.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay. So, and then later I see like a bunch of cups just left on my trunk, and I'm like, okay, at least they didn't trash my car or whatever. And then I go over there and I see like little specks of white dust
It looks like
on
flowers.
the
and shit.
and I was just like, I don't think this is flour. I'm just
Can you
like,
imagine?
okay. So I took the cups out. I just wiped off
Swept.
the white specks, and I got out of my car, and then I just parked somewhere else.
Should have taken the speck and then rub it on your gums.
No, I'm not that guy. I'm not trying. No, it's
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
anymore. I never tried once. though.
No.
I really want you to try like one thing that's not
Nope.
alcohol.
Nope.
Yesterday we were having this conversation with his
Yes.
girlfriend.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my
was the
God.
biggest betrayal
What?
I've ever had in my entire
Did
life.
you say that? Yes, she would try it.
Yes.
Oh my god!
And I'm just like, God damn it.
So we were like, yo, if she tries, then Brandon's a victim.
And
Yeah.
Brandon's trying 100%.
And she felt like because like she asked why her opinion counted as to why like
You would-
I would be in trouble.
Yeah.
And I said well, because you kind of influence me in a passive way. And she goes, what do you mean? And I said,
Yeah.
well, when it comes to shisha, before I met you, I've never smoked like anything ever before,
Mm-hmm.
especially shisha. I had like a point where I would never put any smoke in my lungs. and then I met you, and I realized that you smoked like some shisha, right?
Yeah.
And you did it pretty often, and eventually it just came by where it's like I felt influenced to try it just to, so I can hang out with you.
It's crazy to me that you would, just because she does it, that you would do it. Like
I
smoke cigarettes in front of Adam, and he didn't be like, oh, let me try cigarettes.
No, but it's not that. It's just the fact that like smoking shisha especially is a very
social.
Is a very social thing, right? So like when I see her smoking it, I feel the need that I should like if I want to spend time with her, it's one of the things I'm gonna have to do.
No, you don't have to do it. Like, you literally, there's nothing in the world that's forcing you to put it in your mouth and inhale.
That's true. That is true. However, if I do want to spend time with her, I am going to have to sit next to her and inhale it anyway.
What is that logic? It's like saying... Like,
that's not...
That's not a good logic. That's like saying...
That's terrible.
Okay, it's secondhand smoke.
Okay, so I'm smoking pot next to you. Oh, you're already standing next to me, so might as well just take a puff.
No,
that's exactly it.
No, I guess that wasn't the best example, but it's just, I don't know. I felt influenced in a passive way where it's like, okay, she's doing it. She's my girlfriend. She's going to keep doing it for a while.
So basically you're telling me...
Why am I going to kid myself?
You're influenced easily, basically.
By her.
From her.
By her directly, yes.
So I can just tell her, hey, you want to go smoke pot? And then she's going to say yes, and then she's going to start, and then there you go.
But I feel...
This is my plan to get Brandon to smoke weed.
But I'm pretty sure, like...
I feel like weed might be different because it's really like, it's one of the things where... It's one of those things where it's like, it's not that I don't want to, but I am curious, but I don't want to because of the consequences. It's really just, I don't feel the need to try it.
I feel you.
Whereas shisha, it's like, I have been curious about it, and I'm like, like every Arab does it, why don't I do it, right? But I'm just like, oh, but smoking isn't good for you.
But then that contradicts your whole thing about, like, not smoking weed.
Why?
Because he's like, oh, well, everyone does it, so why should I do it? And then I'm like, oh, do it, like, try it, everyone's doing it. And you're like, why should I try it if everyone...
No, like, that's not it. It's just like, okay, for shisha, the reason why I started was because I was curious about it.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend was doing it.
Yeah.
And for me, what held me back is the fact that smoking is not good for you. But I got influenced.
Yeah.
Right, passively. I have to stress that out because she did not force me to try it.
Yeah.
It was just a passive. Like,
she just stuck it in your mouth and you stuck a bitch.
I think most of the time it's not like peer pressure. It's really just like you see people doing it and you're like, like maybe it's not that harmful. I mean, maybe it's not a good like instinct to have.
Yeah, I was like, everyone knows that shisha's harmful.
No, I know.
But I know what you mean. Like, it's like, like, fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
Well, that's how I got into it.
But it's not peer pressure though. Like, I can't stress this enough. I really...
Oh, I know it because she didn't tell him. She wasn't like, you should do it, you should... Yeah. Like, I peer pressure him all the time. But I know that you won't do it, so that I mess with you on that.
I think adults think that, like, most drugs and stuff like that are, like, they're fought off by peer pressure. Like, it's like, oh, they probably try it because people have, like, asked them, and it's because, like, they've been offered that they want some. But it's like, no. It's either curiosity... or they see other people doing it and they're just like, this seems like a nice time. See, I honestly think that.
I'm thinking the people who were easy to influence that start smoking and whatever is like the older generation because
them
now,
oldies.
The oldies, I know, right? The oldies, they were back in the days, like whenever someone like a famous person, well, I'm not saying it's not done now, but whenever like a famous person like the Beatles, when they were popular, everyone copied their haircut style and everything like that. Fucking Queen, the same thing, or like any other like band. I can't name any other, but it's okay. They were easily influenced because now these days we're all like be yourself, like individual. You don't have to follow someone to be like who you are. So that's what I find that it's different now because now it's like I want to try it, not this person has tried it, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, there's less like we're much more individualistic.
Yeah, and we're much smarter too on things. Like I'll give it for granted. Like they used to put ads before. I was saying like smoking is good. Like fucking take one.
Yeah, just like we're more. I wouldn't say smart is the right word, but we're more like aware of some things.
Okay, yeah.
But I feel like every generation is always like that. Like there's probably some things like that we're doing, like shisha, maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Or actually, one example would probably be SARMs.
What?
Yeah, that's a great example.
SARMs?
Can you explain what SARMs are?
SARMs are this kind of like in between steroid, where it's like it's not exactly a steroid. I think they count it as a supplement. but it
Okay.
has like steroidic effects. I don't know if that's a word, but yeah.
It's like trying to get high, but with like counter drugs, basically.
Sure.
No, but
exactly.
it's just because, like, let's say steroids are known, like, they're notorious to be
Yeah.
poor for your health.
Yeah.
But SARMs, it hasn't been researched yet.
Exactly.
Because it's a new thing.
Okay.
And because of that, people are taking them, and they're becoming, because it's like a workout drug,
Yeah.
like steroids. And people are getting huge. But the thing is, people are saying, like, oh, there's no effects to it yet, because there's no research that's been done.
Exactly.
But it just because, like, it is a steroid
Yeah.
in a sense,
Mm-hmm.
and it probably does have an effect on your organs and stuff like that.
Exactly. But like since it hasn't been researched or anything, people are doing exactly what they did with the cigarette when it first came out. They're like, oh, go ahead, try it. It
But-
works. It's
But I find that, but see, the way now you explained it, I find that us, like you're saying now there's no research, but then there's effects on it, so you're saying like you're not going to take it, right? Because people have found like
Yeah.
effects.
yeah. Well,
But
we're smarter because we know like this has the
Like-
same effects as steroids, right?
Mhm.
But cigarettes, there was nothing before cigarettes.
I'm saying that
Except
we're more
maybe shisha,
aware of
but
what we, we're saying about like we're more aware on what we put in your body, so even if like no one proves like fucking, I don't know, creatine, okay? Creatine
sure.
is like, if I'm correct, it's what you take before going to the gym to get you like energized and hyped up and stuff like that.
No,
well,
it's not.
There's no time. There's no specific time to take it. As long
No, but
as
it
you-
doesn't energize you. It's basically, it puts water in your muscles so
Yeah,
that
you can
you're
absorb
bigger,
it.
So
and
what-
because of that, you're
okay,
more
so what's
resistant to
the-
bigger
so what's-
workouts.
Yeah.
Okay, then never mind. That's not what I mean. What's the thing you
Pre-workout?
pre-workout?
Yes.
Thank you. So okay, for pre-workouts, like people have proven like that pre-workout, like you shouldn't be taking pre-workout because then you'll get dependent on it and you won't have like, it's like having too
It's
much caffeine.
It is
Basically.
It is
caffeine.
caffeine, though. Yeah.
But
It's kind of like an energy drink, but I
Yeah.
don't think there are. I think there are less ill effects, or I'm not sure.
No, it's probably the same.
Yeah.
so
It's crazy,
Yeah.
like crazy strong.
like, and okay, so pre-workout, like people still take it because it's not like, I guess, dangerous-ish or I don't know what, but we're still aware of like putting that in our body isn't like really
But people
good.
do it a lot. That's the thing. I find that like very fascinating. Where, you know, people criticize cigarettes because, you know, we know the effects,
Yeah.
and we're like, oh, this is harmful. But at the same time, people, let's say exactly pre-workouts or like you were saying SARMs.
Yeah.
It's obvious because there is no, like I will say this, there is no scientific research right now
Mhm.
that's saying that SARMs are harmful.
Yep.
But it's because it's a very, very new product, and you
Exactly.
can't measure long-term effects on
Exactly.
somebody's body.
Okay.
Like the thing is, you say that we're smart enough to
Yeah.
know that it's probably bad for us because there are probably effects. But the thing is, I feel like we're basing this off of knowledge that we already know about steroids. Like
Yeah.
if we didn't have any bank of like research
Yeah.
banks
If
about what
didn't
steroids
exist,
are.
okay, yeah.
Right, and we like find out about SARMs all of a sudden, and they're like, "Yeah, it makes you bigger, and like you know,
Yeah.
it works, and you can take it, and all of a sudden your bicep will double in size."
It's because like
Fuck yeah, people will take
Yeah.
it for sure.
Yeah, true.
There'd be no reason not to
like
because we don't
people
have.
take SARMs right now.
Yeah.
Like it is.
That's true. Okay.
That's
yeah.
true.
Then
Well,
never mind.
I
I take
mean-
it back.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I feel like myself, if I didn't know what steroids were and how ill the effects are
Mhm.
on your body when you take them,
Yeah.
I feel like SARMs would probably be an option for me. I feel
Mhm.
like, for sure. But now that I know, because like when I hear what they're talking about when they say what SARMs are, like
You're
oh
like,
what
fuck
they
no.
do and everything, it's like oh it's not a steroid per se, but you know it does help a lot with your
Per
workouts
se.
and stuff. And then I'm just like, yeah, but it does, like, what you're describing is what steroids are, and I know what steroids can do, therefore
Yeah.
I will not try SARMs.
Because what steroids do, I'm not like 100, like I'm not a doctor or anything, but it basically like targets protein in your body.
Yeah.
Or creates a protein.
No,
I'm not 100%
it's like-
sure.
There are many forms.
But what I remember from it is that basically it doesn't target specific proteins. And because of that, like often it'll take proteins from your organs.
Yep.
So
Oh, shit.
yeah, so that's why it affects like your like liver health and like all these organs. Like basically it's to their
Mhm.
detriment. Like
Mhm.
you just like it fucks them up. So when like SARMs, well, people are saying like it's the same thing except that the protein, it actually targets specific proteins so that it doesn't affect your organs. And that's
Okay.
why they're saying that SARMs are better. But the thing is, like I said, there's no research,
Yeah.
and because of that, people just like peek a blind eye to it. They're
Yeah.
like, oh well, there's no ill effects to it because I haven't seen any yet.
Yeah.
I find that so ignorant,
That's
but
so
like,
stupid.
but a lot of people do that to like so many things.
I can just imagine one dude is like, well, I've been taking SARMs for 2 months and my balls haven't shrunk, so.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that'd be so bad. Man, if people actually put the energy into doing research to like, I don't know, cure cancer and stuff like that instead of creating an alternative steroid.
Yeah.
Here's the thing,
For
though,
fuck's
cancer
sake.
is very, very fickle. I feel like I don't think there is a future.
It's an example. I'm just saying that
Why
if
is
you
that?
put
Because it's extremely fickle. It's
fickle.
very fickle means like it's very complicated as a subject. There is not one type of cancer for each different categories of cancer, breast, skin, whatever. There are like thousands of different varieties.
I know, but they could target one at least. If they target at least one, like one research team will target one kind and try to concentrate on this one,
And
then at least that saves like a lot. It's not saving one person; it's saving like a
yes,
1,000.
but here's the thing, though: if they spend a lot of money targeting one type of cancer for one category, or not even one category, because they adapt, they change. It's like the flu.
Cancer, yeah.
Right.
Really?
So like if they do, they really do, and
But it's
they
not
adapt.
contagious though.
No, it's
It
more
isn't
like
contagious, but they do adapt. So they do transform if you give them like some kind of antidote.
Okay, but it's not like
become
cancers are
resistant.
getting stronger. It's not.
They
that-
are getting
They
stronger.
are getting
that's the
stronger.
thing.
It's
But how?
Because
It's
cancer, it's its own like thing growing. Like it's not like,
I know, but like let's say insects.
Or
okay?
actually, no. I guess it's
No,
not
it
the fact that
doesn't
they're
get
getting. No,
stronger.
sorry. It's not the fact that they're getting stronger, but it's just that there are so many. Because it's our own cells failing us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, every type of cancer, even if it's like, let's say 2 people have breast cancer,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Still
there
two
is
different
no way in hell that it's the same type of breast cancer.
Yeah.
So like giving chemotherapy to one could be very beneficial and can get rid of the cancer in say like a month or 2.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one, it could absolutely do nothing at all.
Yeah.
So
okay,
that's
then
why
Alzheimer's.
it's-
Then here you go.
Yeah.
Pick another disease you want to think. Good.
I have not done enough research on Alzheimer's.
On Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Were you researching for cancer so I can say that?
Well, I mean, I've listened
For this
to a
one
lot
moment?
of no, but I listened to a lot of stuff about biology and stuff because I'm into that.
Mm-hmm.
And cancer was one of them, and like the title of one of like a TED talk that I listened to was why we will probably never see a cure for cancer in our lifetime.
Because
In
it's
our
too
lifetime.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there is, I guess, a possibility that they find one cure for like all cancer, like if
Mhm.
they target one thing but that's the thing, it's a lot of research because to go through all the different cancers like
Yeah.
that exist
Mm-hmm.
and to find like the one key ingredient that all of them have to then create an antidote to kill it.
Mm-hmm.
But is it all the
It's-
same cell that fails us? Is it just like this one specific cell that fails us? And
No,
then turns
well,
into-
No.
I mean it is, I guess, but then if it metastasizes, then you're fucked. Because metastasizing is like it's going everywhere in your body
Yeah.
and it's affecting everything else.
Yeah. I knew that big word.
Yeah. But yeah, that's
Cancer,
right?
right?
Like, yeah, I know.
Well, see, this is why I'm an esthetician, and the only problems I get is blackheads and pimples.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
However,
It's easy to fix.
here's a silver lining for breast cancer, though.
Good point.
I'd say, I can't remember what the statistic was, but I know it was in the high end.
Yeah.
Of the statistic, a very, very big majority of the cancers that breast cancer provides
Yeah.
are
Mhm.
harmless.
Or harmless?
Yes, which is why a lot of people nowadays are saying that frequent mammograms are a bad idea.
Why?
Because
Because
it's
it's causes.
the secondary effects can be worse than the cancer itself that you
Mhm.
have.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think they said out of the 5 different, like, let's say they narrowed down the breast cancer to like 5 different types.
Yeah.
4 of them are harmless, whereas there's like the 1 out of 5 that is harmful.
Yeah, well, most of the time it's not really like a huge deal in the sense that like it can be harmful in the sense that like it spreads very easily.
Yeah.
But most of the time, a tumor, because it's not only cancer, there's also like just regular tumors.
Mhm.
They don't spread,
That's true.
so there's literally there's no threat.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary as fuck though. I mean,
Mammograms were like so uncomfortable to do.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. You like put your boob in between these 2 plates and then it squishes your boob. And
what
you just,
happens
like,
if you have like really
oh.
small boobs?
It's just it like places on it. like instead of putting your boob in between, it's just the two go like on your chest.
Okay.
If anything, and then it just like tries to
Mhm.
like squeeze it out.
Yeah.
But like,
But I feel like if you do have, because like cancer becomes a tumor no matter what, right?
Wait, no.
Yeah, cancerous cells, because it's.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
in
cancer
its base.
is a tumor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like, in the sense where if you have cancer and you have small boobs, eventually you will find out physically before
Yes,
you even
yes.
take the mammogram.
What do you mean?
If you have small boobs, that's the
Yeah.
that's the advantage of small boobs, I
Exactly,
guess.
because when you have big boobs, it can be hidden in your fat. That's why you take a mammogram to go to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Whereas
no,
if you
I
have
can still
small
feel
boobs-
it. Like I can, if I feel around, I can still, like I can
Sure,
feel.
but what's
it.
gonna tell you that it's either a tumor or like let's say a milk socket for
Your
when you're
glands?
pregnant. Yeah.
Well, I don't have milk socket and still have a baby, and then I have the socket, but I don't like. It's not like. I don't know how to explain it. The only thing you can feel if you're not pregnant
Uh-huh.
is the glands,
Yeah.
and then that's it. I don't think you feel this milk socket.
Well, that would be the glands.
No, that's not from the. Okay, my biology like probably sucks, but
Okay.
no, that's not the glands.
The glands that produce milk when you're pregnant.
That's what. Fuck me, I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a socket and then the glands next to it.
No. It's the glands produce
Okay,
milk
then
in
yeah,
like
okay.
tiny fibers, but you have so many of them that it produces enough
produces
milk
milk.
for the.
Okay,
For the
then thank
baby
you.
to-
Okay, then
yeah.
fine. That makes more sense in my head now. I
Yeah.
thought there was
but
just
yeah.
like another socket that fills up, but anyways.
Exactly, but no. So what happens if you feel the gland? Like it could be either the gland or a tumor.
No, you feel the difference. You feel the difference. I
She
can tell
knows.
you.
I
can
guess so.
tell
I
you.
can't attest to that. Honestly.
It's because, well, first of all, it's on your side, and then and when you're on your period, it gets like super sensitive.
That's true.
So you know like the feeling of it,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and then compared to like a tumor, it's just like
It's a lump, yeah.
it's a lump, and you're just like, heck, okay, this is not normal.
I guess that's true.
But
But
if-
yeah, like if you have small boobs, the lump would show.
I
Like
guess.
it would
Yeah,
be a
probably.
lot more.
I don't know. I can't attest to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Weird flex, but okay.
I wanted to flex on that.
But yeah.
Good God.
So yeah, that's cancer for you. You know, still a very very big mystery.
I don't know, honestly. Like, okay, so let's say, because I think it's probably, like you said, there's like thousands of types of cancer. So I don't see. I remember I actually saw this. I went to a conference where they were talking about different types of genetic malfunctions. Okay,
Mhm.
and there are literally tens of thousands, and most of the time it's only like one or two people that have them. So it was these
Yeah.
two doctors that actually study this, but they were explaining that if you actually wanted to research all of them, well, basically what you had to do is like the budget necessary
Yeah.
was something like $6 trillion.
Yeah.
Jesus fuck.
Because first of all, these are doctors,
Yeah.
like with postdoctoral, degrees.
Mhm.
So obviously they demand a lot of money, and they're extremely specialized.
Yeah.
So, and the equipment must cost a fortune,
Yep.
and it's a very meticulous and hard process. So let's say they find one cure, where basically it can take like a year or two,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but you got like tens of thousands.
Yep.
And like a lot of money is put into that, and it's like even the doctors themselves, I mean, they see it as okay, they're helping people with like very special disabilities, but it's like at what cost?
Mhm.
Because like, if the same doctor were to just work in a like regular emergency room, they'd probably be saving a lot more people,
Mm-hmm.
and like it costs a lot less.
Mhm.
True.
So it's like they are helping, but I'm not saying it's wrong, because they're saving lives.
Yeah.
What am I doing? But
On a podcast on
Yeah.
cancer.
The thing is, even if they, instead of like finding one key ingredient for each one of the cancers,
Mhm.
they somehow decided to fund like a cancer research where it's like limitless amount of money where they can just literally target each and every one of them until they found
Yeah.
all of them. It still wouldn't be a permanent solution.
no, because there'd probably be more.
Yeah, there'd be new generations with new types of cells
True.
that would provide new types of cancers.
Hmm.
So it really comes down to like the hardship of finding one common place for each cancer that exists, or most of them.
But I mean, I
And then
think
targeting that.
there's some that are a lot easier to treat than others, and obviously, like we're not like very entitled to talk about this
Yeah.
because we have no clue, but Like, I think most of them, it'd probably be, like, I don't know. It just seems like it'd be an easier solution to cut a part of the tissue. I mean, some it's already
cancer.
possible.
Yeah.
So, like, let's say testicular cancer, which is, like, the most treated or treatable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you can just, like, cut apart or cut, like, the whole testicle, and it's, like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's more like if a cell, if one of our cells started getting like cancerous there, then it could reappear somewhere else.
Mhm.
Isn't that the difference between benign and not? I guess.
What's benign?
Benign is when it's
It's, like, dangerous?
no, not dangerous.
Okay, and
dangerous.
non-benign is dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I think that's what it'd be. So like, let's say they say like, oh, you have testicular cancer, but it's benign.
I think it's but
Mhm.
I feel no.
I think
Benign
so.
benign is for tumors. I don't think it's for, like, yeah, it is for cancer
Yeah.
in a sense, but it's for tumors specifically. Like, if your tumor is benign, it means that at some point it grew,
Mhm.
but then it stopped, so it's benign.
So okay, so,
it's
it won't
not
grow.
it's not harmful. We just cut it off and that's it. Whereas
Yeah.
if it's not benign, it means that there is a possibility that it metastasizes and then goes.
But that's what I mean. I think that it depends on which one you get. So, testicular cancer, if it's not benign, then
Yeah.
you're fucked. So.
Well, no, you just cut it off.
Yeah, you just cut it off before
you-
it
Wouldn't
does
it grow
anything.
out somewhere else? Wouldn't
That's
it
if it metastasizes, but if it's still concentrated to that one ball,
Hmm.
just cut it
Because
off.
most of the time, I mean, cancer spreads throughout years. Like, it
Yeah.
takes a long time. It's not like something that's, you know,
Mm.
usually people are on, like, wait lists and shit like this.
Yeah.
Like, it's very stressful, but at the same time, the doctors are probably thinking, like, I mean, this is not a good thing to think, but, you know, whatever, like, we still have time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not like an urgent situation for them.
That's true.
So you know what? You were talking about governments. This is my inserting conspiracy theory moment in the podcast.
Fuck. We're already there? Jesus. Okay.
Okay. Well, this one everyone knows. Your conspiracy theory about the government has the cure for cancer.
God.
Yeah.
Okay, I
But-
want to talk about
but
that.
to-
Yeah.
But so that doctors are still like, you know, like so people don't lose their jobs, they would keep the cancer.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And also to not overpopulate. I heard it was also like so the population doesn't become overpopulated. Like they kept it a secret so that
No,
people
I
would
heard it
still
was
die.
for economical factors.
I heard like a
Yeah.
bunch of
Yeah.
stories.
But
The
both
one-
of them are pretty much go hand in hand.
Exactly.
Like, okay.
It's like the
Overpopulation.
economical factor is the fact it's like we have the cure for cancer, but we're not going to give it because if we give it to people instead of going through years and years of paying for treatment,
Yeah.
they would just pay the one fee of cure,
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that way too fucking
Yeah,
many
same.
times.
But that
which
I
makes no
hate
sense
that.
to me.
No, it does in the sense that, like, there is a market for cancer.
There is
Yeah.
that's for sure. But I
Fucking
feel
right, yeah.
like no person could ever be that greedy.
No, okay, I actually do agree that there are psychopaths that could probably
Yeah.
think that.
yeah.
However, okay, this is where it gets really fucking like, to me, it gets really fucking stupid. Is that to believe? Why and how the fuck would the government hide that? And what's the government? Like, there's like, what?
I know.
It's like there's like somebody who rules the world,
Mm-hmm.
who's just like, oh yeah, I have the cure for cancer, but I'm
The-
keeping it
Oh my
away
god,
from
that
everybody.
Jewish family. That Jewish
Yeah,
family.
the Rothschilds.
The
Yeah.
Rothschilds have the fucking cure for cancer.
No, it's bullshit
I
because
know.
I can't even stress this enough. Okay, first of all, we're already overpopulated.
Mhm.
So if it were for those reasons, well, congratulations, because
That shit didn't work.
yeah, you just didn't do it right.
Actually, I don't think we're overpopulated
Oh,
yet.
we are.
I
India,
believe
We are by
China,
far.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Didn't we say that the max capacity of the Earth before the need for food becomes bigger than the resource?
Yeah, but that's not the
produced
only.
resource?
It's like
Yeah.
pollution.
Yeah, but that's not overpopulation. That's over. What is it?
And okay,
in
but
French,
let's
it's,
say
surconsommation.
let's say the way we're consuming.
Yeah.
And if we have a population that, let's say, like, okay, we're like 7.5 billion right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if right now we're already consuming too much for the amount of
Yeah.
like land that we have.
And a lot of food goes.
Well,
to
exactly.
waste, for
So we're already overpopulated.
sure. I know that's for sure, but that's not because I feel like
Most of it is because we refuse to change values. Okay,
Yeah,
like, I
that's
acknowledge that, but it's like, if the government were so smart, right, they'd probably acknowledge that already. Like, we're not changing habits, and if the government were like that, then they'd probably want us to change our habits, and they do something so that we do, right?
Yeah.
But,
True.
okay, so bear with me, okay? Let's say that there is, because there are so many people who believe this,
Mm-hmm.
and I think
Way too
most of
much.
the time, it's probably somebody who has somebody close who's passed away from cancer.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Like-
for sure there's something and someone's not telling me.
Yeah, and I get that, because it's so much easier to blame somebody else
Yeah.
Yeah.
than to be like, no, this is just nature.
Yeah. That's true.
And
But then those are the same people who believe that vaccination is the government's way of just giving
Yeah,
us like
it's-
bullshit.
I love that, because, like, you know, anti-vaxxers are, you know, people who have, like, this very strong belief, but I don't get it, because, like, okay, let's say anti-vaxxers are like 5% of the population, right?
Mhm.
So that means that 95% of the population would be under government control, right?
Mhm.
But it's like, what's different between those 5% and the 95, other than the fact that they get more disease than the others? Like, are they somehow, like,
I have no idea.
smarter, or, like, do they control their mind better? And if they did, wouldn't they, like, actually, like, be like, yo, I'm actually smarter than what I used to be,
Yeah.
because I don't take any more vaccines?
Oh my god.
Anymore.
Like, wouldn't they actually, like, see some evidence? But no, they just, like,
Yeah.
have this blind belief.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, there could be the placebo effect where they believe that they're smarter,
But
they're
I've
not
never,
actually
ever
smart.
even heard
Yeah.
an anti-vaxxer say that.
Yeah, that's true.
The only, like, logical claim I've heard is that it can cause, like, anti-immune disease, like vaccines. And, like, logical in the
What do you
sense
mean?
that, like, there's no study that says it, but, like, at least they're saying something that has to do with their health.
Anti-immune or autoimmune?
Autoimmune, sorry,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, their autoimmune systems.
Audio.
Autoimmune. Yo, I'm just looking at the, yeah. It's mixing me up. But yeah, like, I have no clue how people blindly believe, and it's like, think about cancer for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how complicated that situation is. It's like, obviously there's probably, like, some miracle cure, yeah. I remember, like, weed was supposed to be a miracle cure for cancer.
No. Oh,
Yeah,
really?
I've heard
Cure?
I've heard that way
You
too
know
fucking
what,
many times.
Which
Like-
one?
I've heard like to help with cancer patients that don't eat because of chemo.
Yeah, okay.
But
No,
not
no,
cure.
I've heard way too many
Oh,
times to be
shit.
like, yo, it's like the government's, you know, the government has, like, this huge propaganda against weed, and they're trying to hide the fact that it can cure cancer from us.
Well,
It's bullshit.
I can back up their thing. Not back up, actually. I can tell you like why they would think that is because weed was made illegal because people were figuring out that you can use weed to make paper, cotton, like about clothing. You can make clothing with
But
paper
okay,
and weed and
there,
stuff like that.
yeah,
But wait, sorry.
yeah, sure.
finish my
Just
statement?
keep going.
People were figuring out that weed was all like good for all these things, and then the big paper companies were like, "What the fuck? Like we're losing like money here because we're chopping down trees and whatever." And then also it was to boycott, I guess, the hippies, and back then they were protesting.
Hmm.
So like for people now to say like, "Oh, the government's just doing that," they'll say like, "Oh, well, look, back then they just made it legal so they can stop us from like,
Hmm.
you know."
Okay, so I have two counter arguments to that. First of all, what you're referring to is hemp, which is like
Yeah.
the derivative of marijuana.
Yeah.
Hemp has always been legal. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And I've heard, like, those arguments,
Yeah.
like, from some, like, hippie video when I was, like, in, like,
But it's
12th
true.
grade.
If you look at the history
okay, you
books, that's
can
what it,
you
like,
can
that's-
make paper. It's not more, like, it's not economically better to use hemp for two reasons. First of all, it's much easier and it costs much less to find a forest that's already, like, you know, a fresh forest that's never been picked or cut,
But
and just, like,
environmental,
straight up cut some trees, not like a whole, like, in French we call that a coupe à blanc, where you just
Yeah.
like completely shave off every single tree.
Mhm.
That'll cost you your forest, and long term it's really going to be shitty because you're not, like, all of the land is going to be completely
Wait.
shaved off.
What? So, wait, it's better to like
Oh.
cut down trees than to just have like a farm.
So normally, yeah, okay, there's
How
two
is that
types
possible?
of ways to
Because it
produce.
costs a lot of money. to
Yeah,
grow a
exactly.
farm.
Growing a tree farm costs an enormous amount of
Yeah,
money.
but no one's growing tree farms. Everyone's
Okay,
cutting
but
down
what's
forests.
what are you gonna do with, like, the knowledge that hemp trees are better?
What?
Okay, so what the argument is that hemp is somehow this miracle plant where you can make paper out of it.
Yeah.
But economically, it actually costs more to use hemp.
See, but I don't understand that though.
Okay,
How?
because there are like, let's say in Quebec, okay,
Yeah.
because this is, or like Vancouver and British Columbia. British Columbia is like the main source of like wood intake. That
Yeah.
most of their economy is based off of that.
Mhm.
Okay, there is no like land filled with hemp trees in British Columbia. Okay, so what
Yeah.
they would have to do
Yeah.
is create, in your opinion, hemp forests, or not hemp forests,
like
but
farms.
actual hemp farms. Yeah,
Which
Yeah.
costs a lot of money
which
to
would actually
maintain and
cost
grow.
more than just cutting down trees.
But then why wouldn't someone just say like, I'm gonna do a hemp farm and then like?
It costs more. There's no need for it. Okay, so like let's
But
say
it'd be better for like environmentally. It would be so much better.
not necessarily, because it depends how you cut your trees.
Yep.
So in Canada, there's laws where you can't just cut every single tree off a forest.
Mhm.
You have, what they call it is selective cutting.
Yep.
So
Okay.
they have an engineer who's in the forest who chooses the trees that they cut depending on the land and what it'll cost and how it can grow like in the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they have a plan on which trees are going to be cut so that later on other trees can grow at the same spot and it'll cost like a lesser amount, like in the
But-
long term. So hemp, okay, another thing, it's not just cutting trees, because like you said, I've heard of like insulating houses with hemp. It's like I think environmentally
Making
it's
fabrics
probably
as well.
better.
Fabrics, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Like shirts
Hemp
and stuff.
clothing has always exists, but another thing is cotton picking in Africa is actually much cheaper than growing hemp here.
Yeah.
Like much cheaper, because you have a workforce that costs
But-
a lot less.
Wait, but I'm talking.
But
like,
actually,
in-
that's not 100% true, because the transport
yeah,
of all
called-
the
Yeah,
fabrics
okay,
and stuff,
yes, but-
and the environmental effects of all that.
That's what I'm saying. It's the
transportation
environment.
Yeah, okay, environmentally, yeah,
it's
it's
so
probably-
much better because you're not just going to forest picking trees or whatever.
Mhm.
You're just like planting. Like, might as well do a tree farm or whatever.
I know, but one of the conspiracies on marijuana is that the reason it's legal is because it's preventing you from doing all this. But hemp has always been legal.
That's true.
Well, anyways, I'm
Yeah,
not like.
yeah.
It's just that's what like. Going
Yeah,
back to the
yeah,
vaccine
yeah.
thing is that that's what I'm saying. Like, probably people are thinking, because not everyone has that knowledge of saying that like hemp is, it's a hemp that actually not the actual
Yeah, it's not
plant.
marijuana.
But still, the government did say. What was I saying? I'm sorry.
What
the
the government
government did try to like they made the marijuana legal to try to stop the people who were protesting and doing all that stuff, because that's what they would smoke.
Yeah. And now that marijuana is legal in Canada, it's like, what's different?
There isn't much, except that a
Yeah.
lot of times when I go into a building somewhere, I smell weed.
Yeah, yo, I take the
Yeah.
public bus, and let me say, yo, sometimes it smells like somebody's smoking inside the bus. It's so
Yeah.
fucking bad.
I have a lot of people at my job that come in and then just like bring an entire like cloud,
Yeah.
like not
Comes
an
in
actual
with them.
like they're not smoking
I
while
know.
they're walking, but like you can
You-
it's like a punch to the face
Yeah.
how it smells, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. But it's gonna go down. It's like with cigarettes. Like cigarettes before, everyone and everything used to smell fucking intense cigarettes.
Mhm.
I have clients that come in, oh my fucking god, that's the worst. Facial, and I'm literally like in a closed room with this person giving a facial and everything like that, and they smell like cigarettes so fucking bad.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I had a lady halfway. By the way, this is like an hour for the whole like thing.
Mm-hmm.
30 minutes in, she had to stop the facial to go smoke her cigarette outside.
That sucks.
I had to literally stop, wait for her outside, and then she's like, "Can I go smoke while I have my mask on?" I'm like, "What?" And I'm just like, "No, I prefer to not because
Yeah.
like, what? Like what? The fuck?"
Yeah.
You know?
It's a weird
It's
question.
like people, even with cigarettes. It's like same thing. Like people will come in and these fucking smell of like,
It's pretty ironic though that she's getting a facial, but she's smoking at the same time. Like,
which is horrible for
Yeah,
your
it's
face.
horrible
Oh
for your
my
skin.
God.
Yeah.
I tried to convince a woman that when you smoke, you get wrinkles.
Super bad wrinkles.
Wrinkles around your your mouth and also around your eyes.
Yeah.
Because, and then she was convinced. She's like, no, it's the sun that you get that. And I was like,
well, that too.
I'm like that too, but like, where do you get the sun when you go outside? Why do you go outside? You go for a smoke. Hello.
But smokers in general, like you can spot them a mile away.
Fuck yeah.
Like a regular smoker, you're just like, I can see it in their face.
Yeah.
Like.
And it's funny because I'll tell them, that's how I make people realize how like intense it is on your skin, because they'll sit down and I'll look at their face and I'm like, oh, how many cigarettes do you smoke in a day?
Yeah.
And they'll look at me and they're like, oh, how do you know? I'm like, because this, and this.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, it shows. I'm like, fuck yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Or when I give manicures, that's disgusting. That's why I hate giving manicures to a smoker. Their nails will be, and tips of the finger will be yellow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, how many do you smoke a day? And they're like, oh, just one. I'm like, I say 5, like a whole pack maybe, fucking. And they're like, oh, how do you know this? And I'll tell them, and they're like, oh shit, like I didn't know. But some of them actually don't know. Like I've met people that I'll tell them, oh, like this causes this on your face. They'll come see me. They're like, oh, my face is like doesn't have color, doesn't have life to it. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's because of the cigarettes that you keep smoking. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. And then I have to explain to them the whole oxygen thing in your body, how it works on your skin.
Damn.
And they're like, oh. That's my proudest moment, is that one client, she was 17. Okay. Well, actually, she's probably still 17. And then, and she smokes.
So my proudest moment, this girl was 17. I told her everything. She committed suicide. That's
no, she actually
she was
reduced,
17.
No.
Like, that's dark.
She's like, I can't live with myself with this.
Okay, this is like Dark Brandon coming out. Like, all of a sudden. But no, I told her everything about her face, and she stopped smoking, or reduced her smoking a shit ton. And she came back. She actually called the salon and said, like, hey, my skin is so much better. Yeah. And I'm like, fuck yeah. See, estheticians changing people's lives.
Damn. One day at a time.
One facial at a time.
So let's go back to cancer.
Yeah.
Because like the conspiracy itself.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Something else, but I'll tell you later.
Yeah. It's because one of the things I find interesting is that like there's often people like make really fucking bold claims like that with no proof.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Because I remember this one time, and I can't remember. I obviously it was a video on Facebook, because that's where like every single like false information comes from. But it's like this guy who I think he's like in court or something, and this like video went super viral, like at least 10 million views.
Yeah.
And it's basically like the headline is like this guy knows that like the government's hiding cancer, and he's like at court or something like that, and he's just like saying like, I know that the government is hiding cancer from us. My daughter or something like that had cancer, and it got treated by this miracle, and the government's been hiding it from us. And I was like, well, why the fuck aren't you talking about it, bud?
Yeah.
Like,
it just sounds so weird. And people are like super like, they're like, oh my god, the government's horrible. And I was like, first of all, where did the government even find this cure?
Yeah.
Because it probably came from like some doctor, like who's probably like part of like a research team. He found this cure, and he probably talked about it to somebody. And it's like, what did this person like who obviously works with him is like, he learned about it and he was like, oh my god, I gotta shut this guy up.
Yeah.
Like
what happened?
People are dumb. It's like the people well, this goes more into religion. I find that like some people,
that's definitely one
like
of them.
Religion would say, so people would like bring their kids to doctors, and they'll say like, oh, your child has this medical thing, and they're like, okay, don't touch him, God will take care of things. Like they'll not.
Wait, you mean the doctor will say that?
No, the parents.
Okay,
of the
kid. Yeah, that's another. But it goes into like that anti-vaxxer kind of belief.
Yeah.
Where it's like they're ready to sacrifice their kids for their own beliefs.
I fucking hate that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I hate it. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You have cancer. Oh, God will take care of it.
Yeah, I remember this person who was like, I think it's a Jehovah's Witness. I can't remember. But basically, they're not supposed to get like treated.
Blood transfusion either. They can't.
This doctor who's like, okay, well, there's just like this regular procedure that we can do to treat him. Otherwise, he will pass away, but it's pretty easy to do. And the parents are like, yeah, but it's okay, God will take care of him. But he's like, you don't understand, like, your son will die. And it's like, oh, no, like, God has a will and we'll respect that. So the son actually passed away. And it was like, well, I mean, we're very, very sad, but, you know, it's God's will.
Oh, I fucking hate that sentence, God's will.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that.
It's crazy.
I think I'd look at the parents and I'd be like, listen, is God's will worth your son?
Yeah, and I'm thinking exactly, like, you can fucking save him.
Yeah, you could.
And it's funny because you could obviously, like, make the other remark was like, okay, hypothetically, okay, God exists. Well, God would have created Earth, right? Well, the Earth has exactly what you need to help your son.
Yep.
And, like, it's created by God.
Yeah.
But you're refusing it.
Yeah.
Because
That's true. Or
Like, that's...
you could say that, like, God's will was to send you to this hospital where this doctor said he could kill
Yeah.
he could cure your son, and they're just like, no, that's
No, it's God's will is otherwise.
I saw a TV show. I forgot which one it is, but it was that show. They based it on a real life event, and it was literally Jehovah's Witness. They can't have blood transfusion,
Mhm.
and this girl was like saying like, I can't just let him die. He needs blood right now. So her genius thought was like, I can't give him blood, but I can give him what like the compounds of blood. So iron, I can give him iron. I can give him I don't know what the fuck blood is made of. So she gave him like a bunch of like things of like that could mimic. So he was like hooked up on like, I remember he was hooked up on like so many things, and his parents were like, oh, okay, yeah, it's not blood. So go for it.
Okay, yeah.
It's a show. I mean, they over dramatize it.
Yeah.
Over
Dramatized?
dramatic.
Nope.
It was over dramatic
Yeah.
as fuck. Like he was hooked up on like 20 million things. And
We gotta
like,
work on those verbs, people.
Seriously. Yeah, it was super over dramatic, but still, she was explaining to them, oh, I'm not giving him blood, but I'm giving him whatever it's in the blood so he can get it, so we can save his life.
Yeah.
And the parents were like, yeah, sure. I was just like, oh my god.
That's cringy.
It's just like, oh, we're not going to give him blood, but we're going to give him literally everything that constitutes blood, but in separate formats.
Yeah, because it's not like...
And then he had like different bags, like right next to him, like a bunch of different bags that just like pumping in his veins.
You know what would really be a fuck you to them? It's like if they were hiding it, and then once they actually agreed on it, they would just like open this little door, and in the little door it's like all the tubes for all the different components just fuse together to make blood.
To make
They're
blood
just-
and just be like...
They're just like, fuck you.
Oh my god. I thought you were gonna say like they lift up the sticker. They just put like another sticker on the blood bag and it says blood, but on top they're like iron or
Yeah.
something like that.
It's a blood
Iron's
bag
red?
that says blood on it, and they just add a little sticker that says not.
They write down, they don't even add a sticker, they just write down not blood.
Not blood. They just take out the knot and they're like, oh, we fucked them good that time.
For fuck's sake. Yeah, no, it was a really interesting show. It's like, and then there's like the girl was like super mad because obviously she wasn't religious.
Mhm.
She's saying like this, they would have let him die because God.
Yeah. All right. I think we can stop there. It's getting kind of late, and I have school tomorrow.
Yeah.
Fuck, I have
Because-
work tomorrow too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do I, but you know, I work at like.
No, I start at 8.
So.
I'm pretty.
I start at 9.
That's my life.
Yeah.
In my own words, I guess.
It's okay, I got my conspiracy theory.
Yeah, it's
set.
exactly. You slid that in
Just-
right in.
Yeah.
We talked about other stuff too.
Yes.
I mean, like it started with like, oh, like the government, and I was like, oh shit, this isn't. But
No, I
it
like
actually
this
like
podcast.
yeah.
This was actually constructive, and I learned some things. Like
Yeah.
I learned that the
And it wasn't
it's not
too
a pocket.
political.
Yeah.
It was not. Thank you, Matthew. I learned that there wasn't just a random socket for milk and then the
Yeah.
gas next to it. I honestly thought, I don't know why.
There's just like this. There's just like this hole in your
Yeah.
boob where it gets swelled up with
Milk. Good call.
Okay.
No,
All right. Well, this
that's
has
not
been
how
fun,
it is.
guys. Thank you guys for listening, and God bless. I hope you didn't jizz too much on yourself. I mean, you brought those condoms along, right? That's what I said. So I see you guys. We'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Peace.